This is a review for basically the pilot of Transformers Prime. The Hub, the new channel that replaced Discovery Kids, and it's kind of a joint venture with Discovery Channel and Hasbro, started up recently, and this is one of the new shows they're going to be premiering. I think they did the same thing with G.I. Joe Renegades. They had a 5-part mini-series. Honestly, it's just like a pilot movie that they separated into 5 episodes. I believe they did that with G.I. Joe Renegades, but I don't know. I haven't watched it. I may catch up with it because I'm pretty sure someone's put it up on YouTube by now, and I can watch it all, maybe do a review of that, but I make no promises. When I heard this show was coming out, it was literally right after they announced that they were animated was canceled, and I love Transformers Animated. It was a little shaky at the beginning, but it got way better, especially in the second and third season. Just things got so cool and kind of darker than people would think that show would get to. And this is essentially the exact same team from Animated, with the exception of RC, who replaces Prowl, but RC is still a motorcycle transformer with ninja skills, so nothing has changed. One thing I know that's turned a lot of people I know off is how some of the designs kind of look like the designs from the Bay movies. That's probably just because they want people, particularly kids, because this is a kids network, who saw the movies, which, if they have saw the movies, you're horrible parents, to be more familiar with it. The only ones that look close enough to it, Optimus, definitely. Well, the thing is, they both look good. Like, I'm going to quote my good friend Jade Nova, a man who you should subscribe to. I'll put a link as an annotation since I'm pimping him out. I'm quoting him by saying, in the movies they look like retarded Bionicles. Here they don't look like they're just made of Lego parts. They look more solid. They look good. The only problem is Bumblebee. He's the one who looks the most like his movie counterpart. Him and Prime are the only ones who really look like it. Megatron kind of looks like he does in the movies, only with, he's kind of spiky and he turns into a jet, but he looks awesome, and it doesn't matter because he's played by Frank Welker, and he is awesome. Optimus is played by Peter Cullen, and it's awesome. But the team is exactly the same from Animated. You have Bumblebee, Ratchet, Bulkhead, and Prime. And Bulkhead looks exactly the same. Only thing is he's not voiced by Patrick this time. And Bumblebee doesn't even have a voice, unfortunately. Bumblebee has... luckily, it's not radio transmissions, but it's just high-pitched, what's the word? Radio, it's not high-pitched sound. It's just, wow, wow, wow. I know that sounds terrible, but trust me, he kind of sounds like that. And for some reason, everyone can perfectly understand him. Even the 3 kids that they befriend. Again, this show honestly is just kind of running into the same kind of things that the previous shows have run into. The team's the same, pretty much the same from Animated. Except the robot that transforms into a motorcycle is slightly different. They essentially have a nameless army of drones for Decepticons instead of, characters. The only Decepticons you do see in this series are Megatron and Starscream, of course. You also do get Soundwave, but so far he honestly doesn't talk at all in the movie. The show, whatever. Well, they'll probably put this as a movie. There's the Raidicons, which are the, little drones. There's Breakdown, who's played by Adam Baldwin, for those of you who are, and some guy named Knockout, who I didn't see. Really, the only 2 Decepticon main guys you see are Megatron and Starscream. Also, Cliffjumper's in this, played by The Rock, but he gets killed in seconds, so it doesn't honestly matter. But it is kind of interesting. The plot of this 5-part miniseries was basically to the idea is Megatron has found Dark Energon, which according to them is the blood of Unicron. They're getting some continuity in here, and Dark Energon, at least in this series, I don't know if there's even such thing as Dark Energon in other shows or even in the cartoon Transformers Energon, but it can bring things back from the dead. And there's this thing that's kind of creepy where they use it to bring back Cliffjumper, and he's just a zombie, and it's cool and kind of weird to see in a show that's on a kids network that I honestly thought was not gonna go really extreme on really be tame on the violence and the scariness for kids. They also have a couple human friends now. They see there's Jack, Darby, Raph. Jack is played by the guy who played Spider-Man in Spectacular Spider-Man. Miko's a girl from Japan who hates living in the city, who hates living where she is, which is kind of like that one girl from Cybertron. Raph's a computer genius, and there's also the one cool thing about this is the Autobots here work with the government. They have a liaison, William Fowler. He essentially is the guy who they answer to and who checks on them to make sure nothing insanely stupid's occurring. I like that that they're working with some part of the Earth government. Now, for all I know, it's just the U.S., but they are working with Earth, which is a cool thing. It's kind of good to know that, because almost every series is them just like, we have to hide from the humans. That's my best Optimus Prime voice, I'm sorry. And it's kind of cool that they changed that kind of trope, have them, they're not secret to everyone, like part of the U.S. government knows who they are, but they have to keep them secret. It's good to know that there's something different here. This is really good. The executive producers are the guys who wrote the first 2 movies, but Star Trek will show you that that Bay was the one who ruined that movie, because this was pretty cool. It is honestly kind of generic. I mean, something that can bring back a power source that can bring back dead Decepticons, Cybertronians. It's kind of a fairly simple story, but it's something. Especially, it's kind of weird to hear about that story now that Blackest Night from DC ended. It is cool, and it ends epically. I'm not going to spoil too much, really. Well, I might as well spoil it. They need the space bridge, which is just, for those of you who kind of know Transformers continuity, space bridge is commonly used in a lot of the shows that teleports them from A to B, and they need this to throw a giant chunk of Dark Energon into Cybertron to summon a giant army of these zombie Transformers, and, big spoiler, they believe Megatron is dead. Now, of course, you can't really believe he's ever dead in anything, and also, this show is confirmed for 5 seasons. This current season, which is supposed to be 26 episodes, and then they are confirmed for, at least another 3 or 4. G.I. Joe Renegades is the same, I believe. If this pilot's any indication, I think it's going to be a really cool show. Hopefully we get more Transformers, because honestly, the Decepticons, you really only saw about 5. And no offense to those guys, but they don't matter. Actually, no, you don't even see 5, actually. I'm thinking because there was a Prime comic, and I'm using this Wikipedia to do it. Like, you literally only see the 3. They established there's a couple others, but they were only in the comic prequel for this series. Again, I watched this all last night. It's not exactly fresh in my memory, but I do remember a lot of it. I really hope more come in. That's one thing I really hate about. I hated it. Well, I didn't hate it. I just kind of didn't like about animated was there were just so few things, and a lot of it was just filler until they got to the end when Megatron came back. It's a good show. I recommend you try finding it, watching this at least. it shows that the that Prime has some promise.